Gregory, presiding officer of the Suffolk County Legislature. During my tenure, I promoted government transparency and open access to government. This show is brought to you with the intention of informing the public through community engagement. You will hear from various local officials, community advocates, and leaders. Please enjoy the show.
Well, thank you so much, Brother Dwayne Gregory, and I am Andy C. Lewter. I am your host for this program, Dwayne Gregory Presents, and we are indebted to the presiding officer of the Suffolk County Legislature for creating this platform for community voices such as mine to be able to share with you business, civic, corporate, elected officials that you need to know. There is so much information, so much material that we're anxious to share with you. And so again, I want to thank the county legislator, Dwayne Gregory, who also serves as the presiding officer of the Suffolk County Legislature, for making this platform and this program available. Now, I am co-hosting Dwayne Gregory Presents with my sister, actually, Tanya Lewter Gordon. Both of us are long-time members and citizens of Long Island, and it is our joy and our delight to be able to come to you and share with you information that the county legislator would have you to know and that we ourselves are anxious for you to know as well. Let me pause and invite my co-host to say hello to us.
Hello, audience. We are so excited and delighted about this platform that has been afforded us as Lewter Life coaches. Certainly, we are going to embark on a phenomenal journey with you. As Dr. Lewter has already said, we are going to be bringing you personalities that you oftentimes would not have an opportunity to see on this type of platform. As was stated, from social and civic-minded personalities, businesses. Even we're going to bring you some personalities that are going to surprise you, that are going to be celebrities that are entrepreneurs who are going to share with you great insight on what they've done to become successful outside of what you already know them from. So looking so forward to the show that we're going to bring to you today.
Friends, when County Legislator Dwayne Gregory decided that he was going to create this platform and create an avenue for this kind of access to the community, he was rather adamant that he wanted you, the audience, to be aware of shakers and movers and influencers in our community. Therefore, this is one of our early programs. If you're watching this, this is one of our first recordings, and we've decided, because both of us, Tanya and myself, are the offspring of a long-time resident of Long Island who is Dr. Andy C. Daddy Lewter. He was a scholar. He was a civic leader. He was a community organizer. He was a theologian. He was a pastor. And anyone who has been on Long Island for any length of time are probably familiar with the likes and the life of Dr. Andy C. Daddy Lewter. And so today we want to celebrate him because not too long ago, the municipality of the town of Babylon decided to take the corners of Albany Avenue and Great Neck Road and to rename that intersection Dr. Andy C. Daddy Lewter Way. Now, the reason they did that is because over 40 years ago, that particular corner was a blighted community here on Long Island. It was crime infested. It was punctuated with crack cocaine. It was one of the largest drug dens on all of Long Island. And at the time, Daddy Lewter organized the community, the faith community in particular. They marched on that corner. They put pressure on the town of Babylon, which condemned the area, which rid the area of that blight and problems. That was 40 years ago when the corner was eradicated behind the leadership of Dr. Andy C. Daddy Lewter. Dr. Andy C. Daddy Lewter died in May of 2019. And so this fall, the town of Babylon came together and they decided that the corner that he brought order to and the corner that was so blighted but was eradicated through his efforts, they would rename that area. So our engineer has queued up a very short video. It's about 2 minutes in length, but it will give you a quick overview of how that corner has been renamed, some of the individuals that were involved in its transformation, and then as the offsprings of Daddy Lewter, both Tanya and I are going to come back and give you some of the reflections that we have regarding his life. So as you can see, North Amityville turned out in great form to celebrate the renaming of this intersection. That's Great Neck Road and Albany Avenue, which is now known as Daddy Lewter's Corner. For so long, it was known as the block or the corner, but now it has a new name, a new identity that celebrates the life and the legendary contribution that he made to this community. Tanya, as you think about our father as a father in addition to a community leader, what are some of the reflections that you have regarding that?
Well, you know, first and foremost, I remember that Sunday that Daddy Lewter had a phenomenal sermon, and he galvanized the congregation to take action. It was certainly a call to action to really say enough is enough. This is our community, and we are not going to let another day go that we don't stand and to recapture that corner for the community, because there were so many persons that were fearful to even walk to the corner. And so we were excited, and we went with large numbers. And at that time, I was so young, but I remember us walking behind him, and he didn't change. He had on his robe from preaching his sermon, and we followed him to that corner. And I tell you, it was contagious, because after Daddy Lewter did that, then certainly there were other pastors who basically embraced the vision, and they came out with their congregations. So every Sunday you saw different congregations literally coming out to speak out against it. And it really started there with Daddy. And I am just so happy that he was able to make such an impact with the town of Babylon, doing what they did to really arrest the crime and all of the activity that was going on at the corner that really challenged the community at that time.
Yes, yes, yes. And again, for almost 40 years, for well over 40 years, Daddy Lewter was a leader, not just a faith leader in this community, but he was a leader in terms of social action.
Yes.
He was a leader in terms of social justice. He was a dear friend and actually a colleague of Dr. Martin Luther King. And when Martin Luther King was at the height of the civil rights movement, he used Long Island and Amityville in particular as his headquarters for the civil rights movement. Tanya, let me come back to you, because in just a few minutes, we have put together a video that captures the entirety of Daddy Lewter's life. We did a video on the corner, the transformation of the corner, but we want to give you a little more insight into who he was and what he was. You being the youngest child, what are your fondest childhood memories of him? Because you were indeed a daddy's girl.
Absolutely. To all of my life, I was a daddy's girl. And growing up, I was so fortunate to have such a phenomenal father who was so loving, who was so caring. Now, we all knew by him being a pastor that God and church were a priority, but we understood and appreciated that and never felt less loved, because we knew that if a situation came up, and I'm going to give you an example, you'll remember this, at my birthday, we were on our way into the city to go to a Thai restaurant, because back then that's where Thai restaurants were. And one of the members called up. They had a situation with their child, and he was needed. And so we had to go all the way out to Riverhead for him to minister to that family. And we stayed in a hot car because it was July, but we made the best out of the situation. And after several hours, Daddy came to the car. We understood that was a priority, and we made our way to Manhattan. But that is how committed Daddy was to ministry. And I think that has manifested itself in all of us.
Sure.
Because we all are very involved in ministry. And we understand and appreciate that. And even appreciate and have great love for family. And I think that was a lesson that was really instilled in us from both Daddy Lewter, and I would be remiss if I didn't say Mother Lewter.
Yes, indeed. And friends, this month of November is actually Mother Lewter's birthday.
Yes.
And so we can't talk about Daddy Lewter without talking about Mother Lewter as well. And again, we want to thank the presiding officer of the county legislature in the person of Dwayne Gregory, who has created this platform. He has taken advantage of government access on this particular cable system. And so you're watching Dwayne Gregory Presents. And this is one of many, many programs that we will be doing where we will be celebrating and affirming people, individuals, businesses in our community that's making a positive impact. Now, we promised you to give you a fuller picture of Daddy Lewter, and we've asked our control room if they would cue up a very special slideshow collage that captures his life literally from beginning to end. So, take a look.
the same. Since I met the blessed, oh, I met the blessed Savior. Since He cleansed and He made me whole. Ever shout and I praise God. Oh, I'll shout until eternity rolling. Oh, He touched me. Oh, the Lord touched me. And the joy that floods my soul. Something happened, and now, oh, I know Jesus touched me, and He made me whole. Oh, the hand of Jesus touched me. Oh, yeah, He touched me. And oh, the joy that floods my soul. Something happened, and now I know, Lord, He touched me, and He made me whole. Oh, the Lord touched me. Oh, He touched me. And and all the joy that floods my soul. See, I know something happened, and now I know, Lord, Jesus touched me. He made me whole.
In times like these, you need a savior. In times
there you have the encapsulated life of Dr. NDC, Daddy Lewter. Tanya, when you made your last comment, you said you would be remiss if you did not also mention Mother Ruth Fuller Lewter. And so many of the pictures that we shared with the audience today included Mother Lewter. And those who remember Daddy Lewter literally do not separate Daddy Lewter from Mother Lewter.
Yes.
For nearly 50 years, they were a power couple here on Long Island. They were iconic figures here in our community. And as offsprings of both Daddy Lewter, but also Mother Lewter, talk just a bit. We've got maybe 3 minutes left in this program, but I want you to take those 3 minutes and talk about her business acumen and how her business acumen has translated to your business acumen and what you're doing in business.
Absolutely. But first, I want to commend you and thank you for putting together such a beautiful presentation honoring Daddy's life, as you also did our mother. And so I appreciate you utilizing your gifts and your talents to memorialize them. Mommy was really iconic as a businesswoman. Back in 1966, she started Lewter Scott Travel Associates, which at that time, it was unheard of for certainly a African-American woman to go into business for herself, especially in the travel industry. Oftentimes, she was told, you should, just go home and raise your children. But my brother and sister, who are 7 and 8 years my senior, were already well established with school, and I had already started going to school. And so she ventured out to really create a niche for herself that she dominated for over 30 years. Now, when she first started in the travel business, she worked for an agency, but they wouldn't let her beyond the front counter. And she wanted to learn more. And they were not really willing to do that. And it was from that point she said, you know what, I'm going to start my own business. And literally for 30 years, she was able to take large numbers, hundreds and thousands of people to not only travel nationally but internationally. And so many people remember her for that because they would not have had that travel experience if they had not done that. Now there's a piece that I want to share with you, but I don't know if I have enough time. But I want to just say this. My mother started really on the heels of the law changing, where people of color, African Americans, could enjoy first-class accommodations. And oftentimes, we say, did she do that realizing that at the time, or did she just pursue the business career? But there were so many people that would travel to the South and felt comfortable in traveling in large numbers because there were still issues in the South. So my mother was really revolutionary, and I thank her for that. And that she poured into me also.
All righty. Well, friends, that takes up just about all of our time, and we certainly want to thank you for yours. I am Andy C. Lewter, and I'm joined by Tanya Lewter Gordon. This is Dwayne Gregory Presents, a weekly community television program co-hosted by my sister and myself. We'll be here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor that we're here. Tune in to see what we have in store for you. Thank you so much for your time today. We look forward to seeing you real soon.
We have reached the conclusion of this show, and I hope you have found it to be very informative. Until next time, Presiding Officer Dwayne Gregory.